love the film. It's so cool and weird and hyper specific. What did you and Bridget Savage Cole and Danielle Crudy talk about initially with respect to the part of your chef?
Oh, I love those gals. I just think they're so badass. And how cool is it to have, a female directing, screenwriting duo? I jumped at the chance to work with them really. And initially we dove right in by discussing like why her name was Chef. And to me it was really obvious. Like she is a woman defined solely by her work. And how relatable is that? Like how many times have we as individuals felt like our work was our everything, whether it's the way we wanted it or not. I thought that would be something that audiences could relate to, and then just kind of what that meant when you are in the workforce as an ambitious female. What do you have to do to carve a path on your own merits, right? How many lumps do you have to take? What toxicity do you even unconsciously ingest and then have to process, based off of the experiences that you're having? Um, and so I was like, this is wild and fascinating and probably going to be really uncomfortable, but let's do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, do you cook? Are you familiar with this level of artistry involved with this type of cooking? Did you go down a research rabbit hole for this? How did you prepare for this role?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in the South, so I was kind of raised in a kitchen. My grandma, like cooking is her love language. So I knew my way around a kitchen, but not to the extent that I was going to need to be able to execute this character skill set. So the internet's a treasure trove of information. So I read articles and interviews and watched documentaries and watched YouTube videos of that literally are just like in Michelin star kitchens so you can see how it moves. Um and then I got myself in a kitchen. And with Chef Aisha down at Chouquette in Chelsea here in New York, and that was so eye-opening, and she helped me sharpen my knife skills. It's not a game. It is so not a game. And then when I got to Budapest to make the movie, I continued to train with our food stylist, Zoe Hegedus. Um, and she was creating all of the meals, all of the plates that you were going to see in the film. So she literally taught me how to make them. And with her and her associate Christoph Salz, I now know how to make an incredible sirloin. Like, very proud of that.
That's
It's
awesome.
like it's like if I like you and I make you a sirloin, that's a sign because I'm not whipping out that skill for everybody. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, that's devotion. Yeah, and I love the dynamic between you and Barbie Ferreira as competitors turned friends and
Yeah.
collaborators. I mean, talk a little bit about developing that friendship with her on and off set.
Yeah, Barbie is incredible. I'm such a fan of her work, but I'm also a fan of her as a human. We had some really wonderful talks and some wonderful nights out in Hungary, actually, which was great. It was a good group of people, but it was fun to explore these characters together, especially after we sort of like inherently had a nice rapport, you know, off camera. Some of the things that they say to each other, specifically the chef says to Lucia, are just horrifying. Again, like exploring that toxicity that you sometimes unconsciously take on because you don't even realize that that's you've taken on this idea that, oh, this is how I've seen leadership executed. This is what I have to do to be great. It's actually not the truth. Um, and we did discuss that it is challenging for women, I'm sure, in the culinary world, but also in entertainment. Sometimes you start to think that there's not room for everyone and there aren't enough jobs to go around, and some people are very cutthroat. I wish I could say that that's still not a truth, but it is. I'm a realist. And I and Barbie, we did talk about like, no, there's a better way. Kindness is free. You should spread that stuff like sparkles, you know?